Assalamualaikum. Hello everyone, we are from group 3. We will discussion about pandemic effect to global economic activities. Let us introduce our group. My name is Yolla Retzafiana.
Name is Vika Amalyah.
My name is Putri Fitamalasari.
My name is Silvi Hidayanti.
My name is Vina Visi Hamidah.
My name is Muhammad Fikri Azizi.
Let's look the video.
The COVID-19 pandemic has plagued all countries in the world, the impact of which has caused many casual. Almost all sectors of life, from economy, politics, social, to culture, have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the economic sector is one of the sectors most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an impact on the global economy. When business lost income, unemployment tends to rise sharply, turning supply-side shocks into broader demand-side shocks for the economy. The severity of the impact will depend likely on the duration of repression on the movement of people and economic activity, and on the scale and efficiency of the response by financial authorities. International Monetary Fund note that the global economy has fallen into the abyss of sick after about 95% of countries in the world are projected to experience contraction or suffer negative economic growth. In addition, the IMF notes that the coronavirus pandemic has also caused global economic loss of as 12 trillion or around 2,668 trillion.
Economic activities are activities carried out by individuals or groups to obtain goods or services to fulfill their daily needs by exchanging currency with each other. Economic activities are divided into three, namely 1. Production activities. Production is all activities that produce goods and services and add value to the use of goods and services. In addition, production activities can also aim to add value to certain goods or services. By carrying out production activities, a good or service becomes more for consumer or people who buy and measure. 2. Distribution activities. Distribution is distribution to several people or to several places. The purpose of distribution is to ensure the continuity of production activities and ensure products are well received by consumers. 3. Consumption activities. Consumption activity is an activity to spend or reduce the use value of goods and services to meet needs. Consumption actors as consumers.
Pandemic have an influence on world economic activities, namely 1. World economic growth has decreased. The coronavirus pandemic has caused many large institutions and banks to decide to change their forecast of global economic conditions, including the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD. In its last update, the OECD said that China's gross domestic product growth would experience the largest decline. It is estimated that China will only experience economic growth to the remaining 4.9%, much slower than the previous estimate of 5.7%. These conditions certainly has a bad impact on the global economy. The OECD estimates the COVID-19 will cause the global economy to experience a decline in growth to the remaining 2.5% in 2020, down from the previous projection of 2.9%. 2. Threat of massive termination of employment. Restrictions that are being implemented in several countries related to the corona pandemic have made many factories operational. Apple, Jaguar, Diego, Land Rover to Volkswagen are handful of large factories that have started to limit their production. For example, Bloomberg's Economics noted that large factories in China only use 60-70% of their production capacity. Even some factories in the worst affected countries, such as Italy, are reportedly forecast to stop their production. It was this decline in the amount of production that triggered massive layoffs, and a wave of unemployment was difficult to avoid. This condition is certain to cause a significant decline in economic capacity, especially in developing countries such as India and others.
The stock market is in free fall. According to Cedric Sihab, head of country risk and global strategic at Fit Solution, first over the global impact of the coronavirus will discourage investors from spending their money on investing. On the other hand, global fears will lower share price in major markets. Meanwhile, on the other hand, concern over the global spread of the coronavirus have prompted investors to bid on bond price to their lowest point. This condition is exacerbated by the uncertainty of the duration of the economic related to the broad impact of COVID-19. This impact is expected to continue until the coronavirus pandemic is completely over. 4. Travel industry hardest hit. The decision of several countries to lock down and restrict visitors due to the coronavirus pandemic has made companies engaged in the tourism sector, such as hotels, travel agents, airlines, and other devastated. According to the Secretary General of the Indonesian Travel Agents Association, or ASTINDO, Pauline Suharno, since last February at least 20 major travel agents in Indonesia have been forced to over unpaid leave because they cannot pay operational costs, including employee salaries. This condition does not only occur in Indonesia, but occurs globally. Even countries that choose to take lockdown policies, they must be willing to lose income from the business sector. For example, Italy and Spain were severely affected by COVID-19.
5. The economic recovery process can be more difficult. Bloomberg Economic assumed that the economic recovery process due to the coronavirus pandemic can take longer to return to normal. This recovery pattern can from a U pattern, not a V pattern as predicted by many. The same thing was confirmed by the manager of MadeInChina.com, who predict the production figure in China will not reach the maximum level. Even though factory employees have returned to work, this is due to the supply chain constraints that make production capacity limit. A bottleneck in the supply chain will mean the workers who have been laid off during the pandemic are not necessarily immediately asked to return to work. The impact will return to people purchasing power, which will be difficult to revive, and economic uncertainty will still occur. 6. Gold trading. Meanwhile, the price of gold rebounded and set a record high in 7 years. Until March 2020, gold has reached a value of around 800,000 rupiah. Considering that the value of gold in the previous 3 months was still in the range of 600,000 rupiah. Gold, which was originally only categorized as a safe haven or asset with minimal risk, has become an attractive investment vehicle. This can be seen the gold trading on the spot market, which continues to surge amid the COVID-19 stage.
7. Constraint on export and import. Export and import are very important activities for a country. From export and import activities, a country will get income. However, it was hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic. 8. Food crisis context. In food crisis countries, up to 80% of the population depends on agriculture for their livelihoods. Hence, further disruption to food production and associated value chains For example, in the form of reduced availability of essential input or limited access to land or market, can be catastrophic for vulnerable population. Given a pandemic, we must maintain and support the sustainable functioning of local food market, value chains, and agri-food system. There are three aspects that can be done from an economic and health point of view during the current pandemic. First, this pandemic has become a kind of alarm reminder to all of us that the Universal Health Coverage (UHC) program must be widely implemented in the country, covering at least three areas. First is overcoming unequal health service, including the provision of health workers, health service facilities, and availability of equipment and medicine. Next is to ensure the availability and sustainability of budgets for health service, as well as areas to promote private sector engagement. The second aspect in terms of economy and health is the development of digital technology. During the current pandemic, digital health services have developed consultation via email or WhatsApp and various other digital platforms. This method not only benefits the community, but is a solution for economic growth to increase. When after the pandemic ends, this digital health technology can be continued to be developed. Of course, the government, private sector, and society need to prepare themselves from now on so that this momentum can be a kind of advantage behind the health challenge during the pandemic period. The third aspect is to show again the demand of the need for health security. On a national scale, this can include the protection and empowerment of all citizens against health problems. This aspect includes social protection activities, food security and security, as well as gender equality and attention to youth in health development.
So, here are the presentation from Group 3 on the effect of pandemic on global economic activity. We are sorry if there are errors. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.